Okay, let's talk Assetto Corsa Competizione on the console. I know what you're thinking, and before you start typing, well, David, that's not Assetto Corsa Competizione that you're playing. That's the original Assetto Corsa. And you know what? You're right. The reason that I'm playing Assetto Corsa instead of Assetto Corsa Competizione, and the latter of which I want to talk about while I play the former, is that a few days ago, I think 3 days ago as of my recording this, Kunos put out a patch for the console. Oh, happy days, I thought. There's a patch out for Assetto Corsa Competizione already. And hopefully it'll alleviate a little bit of the problems, or at least make it better in some small, hopefully quantifiable way. And I hope for many of you that's the case. I hope that it helps sort out some of your issues or make the game a little bit smoother on whatever game console that you're playing it on. But for me, I'm pretty sure that patch broke my game. I tried to play, ever since I've tried to play ACC on my PS4 Pro, since the patch came out, I've had basically a game-breaking bug. So allow me to try to describe this bug for you. So almost every time that I start a race, any track, any car, the steering wheel is centered up fine, no problem. But as soon as the rolling start procedure begins, the steering wheel goes very far off center, like 90 degrees off center or more. And I'm positive that it's not my wheel, because my wheel works great on every other sim without any problems. Also, I powered down the wheel and powered it back up. I let it go into the self-centering routine that it does. Then that did it again, so I manually changed the steering wheel's center using the Fanatec controls on the wheelbase. Didn't fix the problem. I've reset the ACC game. I've reset the race. I've reset my PS4. Nothing fixes it. And it's pretty much undrivable. And one of the other reasons that I'm pretty sure it's not my wheel is that I think it was just my wheel, then the graphical representation of the driver's hands on the wheel in the car, in the game's graphics, would appear centered, but my wheel would not be. But this, it actually shows on the screen that I'm turning 90 degrees to the right, but the car is going straight. I'll insert a clip here so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. Got Assetto Corsa Competizione fired up, and we start the race, and the steering wheel is in the proper centered position. Engine start, but you'll see right when the rolling start procedure begins, the car will immediately try to turn left, and I have to turn right just to center it. So now I'm holding the wheel more than 90 degrees to the right in order to go straight. You'll see this first turn here at Misano is a left turn, and I can't even center the wheel without turning too far. So, yeah, that's a problem. A problem that basically renders the game unplayable. You can't play the game like this. It's crazy. So what I did was I found the form basically where you can do bug reporting to Kunos about the console version of Assetto Corsa Competizione, and I will leave that link in the notes below this video if you're having specific problems with the console version of Assetto Corsa Competizione, either on the Xbox One, One X, PS4, PS4 Pro, whichever version you have, you can report your bugs there, and that link will be down below. There's also in the submission form, there's an opportunity for you to upload an image or video to show them the example of the bug that's happening in the game. But just keep in mind that that's limited to a 10 megabyte file or less. So, I guess be creative. Also, if you are having a problem, then when you click the link to do the bug reporting, you might want to bookmark that page, because honestly, I went to the official page and forums and all that kind of stuff on Assetto Corsa Competizione, and I couldn't find the bug reporting page. The only reason I was able to come across it is someone else shared it who was having a bug, and I found it. But then, having not copied the link, I went to the site just to try to navigate and find it myself, and couldn't find it. So make sure you keep track of that link if you need it. So anyway, that's where I sit with ACC on the PS4 right now. I basically just can't play it. So I've had to walk away from it, and I've been playing other things. And, well, fortunately, the original Assetto Corsa is still very, very good, as you can see. I'm having tons of fun around this Black Cat County track. And going back to playing other games after playing ACC for just a solid week, just hour after hour after hour. One of the things that I've kind of had to get used to is that, the feedback, the force feedback in Assetto Corsa Competizione is not great. I never really could get it dialed in perfectly, but I did get it good enough, quote unquote, and I got to the point where I got used to it, and it was serviceable. But the force feedback was never great. So after getting used to substandard force feedback in Assetto Corsa Competizione, I went back to Gran Turismo Sport and F1 2019, the two games that I have that, for me, I guess, have, well, that was a nasty corner cut right there. I screwed up my braking. Anyway, I went back to those games, and it's not that I forgot how good the force feedback is in those games, but after getting used to substandard force feedback, going back to Gran Turismo and F1 2019, and say what you will about those games, call them simcades, whatever, that's fine, embrace that. Hell, they are that. The force feedback in those games is stellar. It is so good. It's my favorite. Maybe it's not objectively the best, but it's subjectively my favorite, and it felt so good going back to it. It really makes me wish that ACC and Project Cars 2 and the original AC was comparable to the force feedback in those two games. But like I say, it's serviceable. It's not terrible after you spend some time adjusting to it and making some adjustments to it, getting used to it. It'll do. But it's sort of disappointing. Anyway, now that I can't play ACC because the patch basically broke my game, I have to say I'm not mad about it, Feces transpires, right? So I'm just disappointed. I'm just sad because I want to be playing it, because like I said, I still stand by everything that I said about the game. When it works, it's incredible. There's incredible things about it. Yeah, there's a laundry list of problems, but it's got real potential. And as the patches roll in and, force feedback support gets better, wheel support gets better, patches come with new content or fixes, and then, in 5 months, the next generation consoles hit, and it's going to run better on those. So I still stand behind what I say about Assetto Corsa Competizione, that I love it, and I really just want to be playing it. So I'm not mad. Kunos is trying. They're just falling a little bit short, and it's really more sad than it is really enraging or anything crazy like that. Anyway, that's where I stand on the whole ACC thing right now. I'm just kind of stuck. I can't play it until another patch comes out that fixes it, because I can't roll back the version on a console to play a version before the patch, and the PS5 isn't available yet, so I pretty much just can't play ACC right now. But on the upside, I guess, I have started going back into the original Assetto Corsa and kind of rediscovering how much fun it is. Because, to be truthful, I haven't given the original Assetto Corsa much love in quite some time. I've primarily played Gran Turismo Sport, Project Cars, and very, very rarely some Forza Motorsport 7. So I kind of haven't, busted the dust off of this disc, as it were, in quite some time, and it still holds up, man. It's got a great frame rate, runs super smooth, there's no input lag. Yeah, the force feedback is kind of substandard, just like ACC, but, it's serviceable, it's livable, you can do it. It's not bad. But it's a terrific load of fun, and if you don't like how GT3 focused ACC is, then the original Assetto Corsa has got a whole lot to offer. I kind of wish it had the full-length race replays. It doesn't, just like Assetto Corsa Competizione. You only get like 3 minutes of the replays. And I splice them in around here somewhere very soon. Just because I love the looks of this Alfa Romeo. It's a kind of a weird, ugly, boxy, angular, beautiful kind of car. Maybe I'm just nostalgia for it because it reminds me, I think it was in Sega Touring Car Championship on the Saturn, which I really loved and got a lot of nostalgia for that game. But it's just really cool and really fun to play. And, it's worth going back to if I can't play ACC right now. I definitely miss this track, though, for sure, because, since ACC is specifically just focused on the World Challenge GT series, the Blancpain series, they're not able to put weird fictional tracks like this Black Cat County in there. And I do have a strange love for this track. I don't know what it is. I think it kind of reminds me, just because it's a long, sort of winding road in the middle of nowhere, it's sort of, the track and driving the track reminds me of those old Cruisin' USA games from the 90s, from Midway. And those games were not great. I played them. They were okay. I'm not really nostalgic for Cruisin' USA because I didn't really care that much about those games, but it does bring up a specific time in my life that was so long ago that you're kind of nostalgic for that time, and you link that Cruisin' USA memory to it. But it's basically, this track is kind of like as if you're got the chance to play Cruisin' USA in the 90s, but with an excellent physics engine and a lot better graphics, instead of that just sort of weird arcadey left right sort of silliness that was Cruisin' USA. But so yeah, I'll miss not being able to play the Black Cat County track in Assetto Corsa Competizione, but hey, you can't have everything, right? But anyway, that's about it for this race. That's about it for this video. This is, I think, me crossing the start-finish line here very shortly. And that's about it. Anyway, it's been lots of fun, even if I'm not playing the game that is my first choice. It's been lots of fun. And thanks for watching. And I will catch you guys in the next one.